Throughout history, lots of people around the world have faced discrimination, where they are treated differently because of their race, skin color, gender, age and lots of other things too. But there are some amazing people who have worked hard to make a change for better, and help us move towards a world where everyone is treated fairly and equally. One such person is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, in full Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, by name Madiba, is a black nationalist and the first black president of South Africa. The South African activist and former president Nelson Mandela helped bring an end to apartheid and has been a global advocate for human rights. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, into a royal family of the Xhosa-speaking Mbu tribe in the South African village of Vezo, where his father, Gagna Henry Mfakanyiswa, served as chief. His mother, Nosekeni Fanny, was the third of Mfakanyiswa's 4 wives. The first in his family to receive a formal education, Mandela completed his primary studies at a local missionary school. In 1939, Mandela entered the elite University of Fort Hare, the only Western-style higher learning institute for South African blacks at the time. The following year, he and several other students, including his friend and future business partner Oliver Tambo, were sent home for participating in a boycott against university policies. In 1944 he joined the African National Congress, ANC, a black liberation group, and became a leader of its youth league. That same year he met and married Evelyn Ntoko Mays. Mandela subsequently held other ANC leadership positions, through which he helped revitalize the organization and oppose the apartheid policies of the ruling National Party. Mandela's anti-apartheid activism made him a frequent target of the authorities. He was intermittently banned and severely restricted in travel, association, and speech. After the massacre of unarmed black South Africans by police forces, Mandela went underground, during which time he became known as the Black Pimpernel for his ability to evade capture, and was one of the founders of Spear of the Nation, the military wing of the ANC. On June 12, 1964, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, narrowly escaping the death penalty. Despite his forced retreat from the spotlight, Mandela remained the symbolic leader of the anti-apartheid movement. In 1980, Oliver Tambo introduced a Free Nelson Mandela campaign that made the jailed leader a household name and fueled the growing international outcry against South Africa's racist regime. In 1982, Mandela was moved to Pollsmoor prison on the mainland, and in 1988 he was placed under house arrest. After attaining his freedom, Nelson Mandela led the ANC in its negotiations with the governing National Party and various other South African political organizations for an end to apartheid and the establishment of a multiracial government. On May 10, Mandela was sworn in as the first black president of South Africa, with de Klerk serving as his first deputy. He established in 1995 the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, which investigated human rights violations under apartheid, and he introduced housing, education, and economic development initiatives designed to improve the living standards of the country's black population. In 1998, Mandela married Graça Machel, the widow of Samora Machel, the former Mozambican president and leader of Frelimo. The following year, he retired from politics at the end of his first term as president and was succeeded by his deputy, Thabo Mbeki of the ANC. After leaving office, Nelson Mandela remained a devoted champion for peace and social justice in his own country and around the world. He established a number of organizations, including the influential Nelson Mandela Foundation and the Elders. Treated for prostate cancer in 2001 and weakened by other health issues, Mandela grew increasingly frail in his later years. In 2009, the United Nations declared July 18 Nelson Mandela International Day in recognition of the South African leader's contributions to democracy, freedom, peace and human rights around the world. Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013 from a recurring lung infection.